they're up, they're down, they're over, and they're out. And the burning question for Philadelphia area sports fans and bettors is why? Eagles, why? Hi, everybody. Welcome to Why Eagles Why. I'm Dave Bontempo, joined by a gallery of stars, and glad that you're with us for our weekly Eagles therapy session. I'm with Bill Gelman, Pete Amato, and special guest doctor Katie Kohler from Play, Pennsylvania. Hello, Katie. As we get ready to start our show, we do it in 4 quarters like a football game plus overtime. So before we get started, please remember to hit like and subscribe and hit that notification bell for future videos. As we break the huddle, first of all, hello to all of you. The Eagles come in at 2-4, getting ready to play the Las Vegas Raiders after the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a party for Eagles fans heading out to Las Vegas. After 6 games, we're going to throw out our first quarter around the horn. What about the blame game? Hey, Bill, we'll start with you in Gelman's Gold. What about the blame game for these Eagles?
Well, I was going to blame lack of execution. Because I was listening to press conference and I kept hearing the word execute. We're not executing. Well, all you have to do is look at the box score. Gelman's Gold this week is 213 total yards of offense. That's not for a half. That's for an entire game. The only time they seem to move the ball is when they got those 2 pass interference calls again on Tampa Bay defense. Other than that, where were the wide receivers? And it sounds like a broken record. Where's the running game? It's like they can't execute, and it goes back to the preseason. These starters didn't play in preseason games, and the coaching staff is just I can't figure out the coaching staff. They're lost. They're not prepared, and I could go on and take up this whole show, so I'll stop talking.
All right, 95 yards, the pass interference yardage you're referring to early on against the Tampa Bay. Pete, who is to blame?
Well, it's been thrown around probably since week 2. People have been looking at Jalen Hurts. He hasn't been playing good. The last game, he's actually looked really bad. And Nick Sirianni obviously has been awful at play calling. There's no run game. Like Bill said, it's basically just 3 RPOs that they run out there, and then they just kind of mix those RPOs up, and hopefully defense can't guess what they are. I don't really know what that means, but so it's kind of like the chicken or the egg situation here. Who do you blame? Is Sirianni dumbing down the offense because Hurts can't read defense well enough to be played under center, or is it Jalen Hurts getting too much responsibility? And Nick Sirianni just a bad play caller and kind of just leaving Jalen Hurts out to the wolves. It's whoever you think what's going on, or it's option 3, which is the worst of the worst. Jalen Hurts stinks, and Nick Sirianni is not fit to be a head coach. So the choice is yours.
Okay, well, there might even be one more. Katie K, who is to blame?
You know, I blame Howie Roseman because he's the one that gave them the ingredients to bake the cake. And he's the one that drafted these guys. And he's really the one that I would put the blame on. He's the one that sat in the room with Jeffrey Lurie and picked Nick Sirianni, and is the one that Nick Sirianni has to answer to at the end of the day to be like, here's why we are passing the ball, like 90% of the time. Here's why we are going out of the shotgun basically every time. They're the ones that Nick Sirianni has to answer to, and they seem cool with it. So I blame really Howie Roseman.
Making money because they're still making money. That's why they're cool with it.
That's about
right. So someone left that cake out in the rain. because that team has not been doing well. We come to the end of the first quarter. Everybody's got something to say about those 2-4 Eagles. Why Eagles? Why the second quarter? And a lot of sentiment stirred up as Zack Ertz traded to the Arizona Cardinals, the great Eagles tight end. And Pete, when I was going through his highlights, seeing some of the great catches, also some of the throws made by Carson Wentz before the knee injury, and it was something to see Wentz along with Ertz at that time.
Anybody that watches the show knows I don't think Jalen Hurts is the answer. I'm a huge Wentz fan, and yeah, they have a nice highlight reel together. I think Zack Ertz is actually one of the most underappreciated players, probably in the history of the Eagles. He's going to go down as easily the greatest tight end of all time that played for Philly. He was always there. He seemed like he played hurt. He was one of the mainstays on and off the field. He was a leader on and off the field, and he was a big pillar in the community. So I think it's going to be a big loss to lose him, but I wish him luck.
Love seeing him make some of those 30-yard completions. And Katie, you have a list of some favorite Zack Ertz moments too in big situations.
Yeah, looking back to the Super Bowl, I don't like to think back of the ways we could have lost because it was really the biggest moment in Philadelphia sports history for me. But he made the plays he made in that game, the 4th-and-1 catch, the game-winning touchdown. When you look at those plays, he came up so big that who else would you have wanted on the receiving end of those passes? I can't think of anybody. And that to me will always be my memory of Zack Ertz. And, aside from the off the field things he did and just his emotion of being a Philadelphia athlete, like he understood what it took. And, in his interview this week, he was like, I could already tell you how the fans were going to react. You really don't hear athletes say that. But he's really one of my favorite athletes because, again, without those two plays, that game ends very differently.
Yes, key moments where he made the difference and kept the Eagles from falling behind in one instance, and then the great catch for the touchdown. So yeah, those things will live on. No Super Bowl without Zack. And Bill, looking forward, the Eagles and the Eagles fans lose something, but he gets a lot by going to Arizona.
Yes, I mean, before the trade, I thought maybe because he came back this season, he was going to be a career Eagle and retire as an Eagle. But if he had to go anywhere, he's going to one of the best teams in the league so far this season. Arizona Cardinals are the only undefeated team left. Kyler Murray is a great quarterback. It's a great situation to be going to. So for someone who contributed so much to the Eagles over the last 8 seasons, to go to a winner, you got to feel for him. He's not going to do anything this season with the Eagles because the Eagles aren't going anywhere. You're talking about a 3-time Pro Bowl selection. As Katie said, he came up big in the Super Bowl, including the game-winning touchdown. He has over 100 receptions in a season, which is an NFL record, I believe, for tight ends in a season. So he accomplished a lot, and good for Zack Ertz to go to a winner.
All right, so nobody's saying why Eagles, why did you trade him? Seems like that's a win all the way around for him, and Zack Ertz, a great guy, as we come up to the halftime of our show. Why Eagles, why the third quarter and a special segment. Katie and Pete are going out to Vegas to watch the Eagles play the Raiders. Katie, why, Katie, why? What about this trip?
Vegas is really the answer. Do you really need a reason? When the NFL schedule came out in May, really every Eagles fan had Vegas circled, and not because the Eagles lost to them in the Super Bowl way back, but because Vegas is the ultimate fan road trip. I wrote an article about Play Pennsylvania in May about planning a trip to Vegas because a lot of people were planning a trip to Vegas in May, and the prices for hotels and tickets was very high then. And it got a really good response. And what had happened was about a month ago, Pete floated the idea of us going out. We put together a plan, and there's just Eagles fans are known for being a great road presence. There's a reason after the Eagles score on the road that you do hear the Eagles fight song. And that's because the fans really do travel well. And this Vegas trip, I say it and I'm pained a little bit. The Eagles are 2-4. Their win total was set at 6.5 games. It very well might be the highlight of the season for fans that are making the trip out.
Well, too, with the new stadium and sports betting being legal, and, Las Vegas was always the home of the books, and now they're the home of a game. Pete, what are you looking forward to the most about going out for this trip?
Any excuse to visit Vegas. So I feel like the Eagles game is just going to be the cherry on top. I'm looking forward to checking out that new stadium. I've seen it from afar while it was being built. I was in Vegas a few years back, and it was a pretty neat looking stadium. I've never seen anything like it. I'm also excited to see how Philadelphia fans travel. No matter if we're 4-0 or 0-4, our fans are passionate and they're loyal, and they will travel. And when we're in another city, everybody has to know that we're Philly fans. We're loud and proud. And I'm really excited to see how that goes down and how loud we really get and how we can take over that strip.
What about you, Katie, as far as what you are looking forward to the most when you just say Vegas? But what in particular? Is it meeting the people at the airport? Is it being in the hotels and getting the vibe? What excites you most as you look forward to your trip?
Well, really the whole experience of it. Obviously not all Eagles fans are going to be able to make the trip, and Pete and I hope to bring the experience to all Eagles fans. So you could do that by following us on Twitter at Play Pennsylvania or Eagles.com, and we're using the hashtag BirdsOnTheStrip. I'm leaving early Friday morning, and I hope to get video and pictures of Eagles fans there already hype and ready to get out there and start to enjoy Vegas, the restaurants, the sports books, obviously the casinos. It's just really a setting up to be a great weekend. And send us your pictures of you and your Eagles gear out there. We'd love to see it. And just, represent Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly, man. It's going to be 80 some degrees. The stadium is gorgeous. There's plenty of other places to watch the game. I did a last minute planning guide that even if you are going out and don't have tickets, there's a lot of other neat places to watch the game at, like Circus Swim, which is basically huge swimming pools that are a sports book. And that's something you're not going to find in Pennsylvania. So there's a lot I'm looking forward to out there. And I think, Dave, you'll be like, you haven't mentioned the game.
Well, because it's really not that's going to be second to a lot of people. You're right about what the experience is. And Pete, I'm recalling something about when you mentioned the weather, Katie, when we had this massive snowstorm here, and I'd been out in Las Vegas doing a fight. And Pete, I was stuck in Vegas for 2 days because I couldn't get back here. So I had to go to the track for 2 days. It was a heartbreak that I had to bet all of these races and then pretend it bothered me.
Yeah,
What about this now, Pete? Are you guys coming back?
Well, yeah, I have to come back. My wife will have something to say about that if I don't. And if I stay there too long, I'll probably go broke anyway. But yeah, we're any information that any content that we share, I'm gonna leave all the information in the description below, so we can share our experience with everybody. There's going to be a lot of entertaining content for us to suck up, and we're just going to try to get as much as we can so we can share our journey with the fans, the people that watch this. We'll be sharing it on a few different sites like Play PA, Play NJ, Eagles.com, and of course on our YouTube channel, Why Eagles Why. So we're just excited to get down there, see, kind of hit record on the video camera, and then see what happens.
Okay. Oh, that's right, Katie. You mentioned something about a game. Yes, the Raiders are 4-2. The Eagles are 2-4. Watch for Henry Ruggs, this guy for the Raiders, who scored a bomb on a touchdown last week. They're a much better team with him. They have a new offensive coordinator for the Raiders. They finally looked like they were sharp last week. And, well, you know what you think you're going to see with the Eagles as we come to the end of the third quarter. It's Why Eagles, Why the fourth quarter. And one concept here is that even if the Eagles lose, you can win. Couple examples. One came last week right in the middle of the Tampa Bay game. We got a text from Pete. Pete hit O.J. Howard as the first scorer at 22-1, and he had some juice on it. Pete, what were your thoughts on that, man?
Honestly, I was just kind of looking at the different prop bets before the game. I usually like to stay away from the crazy ones because they're just kind of like sucker bets. But I did see O.J. Howard on first to score, and Tom Brady loves his tight ends, and there's no Gronk playing. So, yep, 22-1 bet. I threw $15 on it, and it ended up hitting.
That's part of Pete's trip to Vegas, perhaps. So our name for you this week is Professor Pete. And another one on Eagles.com, I wrote the story about the money line, taking the money line favorites because the NFC East is the NFC least with their opponents. And all three of them came in: Tampa Bay, Kansas City winning against Washington. And the third one was the Giants losing to the Rams, sort of a foregone conclusion, and then Dallas wins. So even on the money line, when you're taking the favorites, you can win.
Yeah, and you set it up nice with the parlay, so the odds weren't that bad. You make some good money off that. So when you parlay those long odds, you parlay them together, it lowers the odds a bit for you, and that was a good pick by you.
You can't win them. Can't win much money taking one of those big favorites, but you put them together. That's a strategy. Speaking of strategy, Bill, do you think we will see one this week from the Eagles?
No. I think they're going to try. But I was listening to one of the post-game shows after the Tampa Bay game, and a former Eagle was on the show. He's comparing the Eagles' offense to a high school offense. And week after week, they just don't seem to have a plan. They seem to have an idea what they want to do, but either the wide receivers don't get open, Jalen Hurts doesn't see them. They forget that running is part of an offense. Defense shows up sometimes it doesn't. And until they show us a complete game, I don't think this coaching staff, these players, I don't think the pieces, it's almost like you have a puzzle, like a 200-piece puzzle, and you got so many pieces that are for a different puzzle, like the boxes got mixed up or something. There's going to be no game plan.
Well, who knows what Gelman's gold is going to be next week. By the way, if you did hear a phone ringing in there, that was somebody trying to get in and make a bet, getting some thoughts down on some afternoon action going on around the world. Katie, you'll be out there. You'll be part of the excitement. But what do you think once the game starts that you're going to see?
At that point, it's you're in Vegas, bright lights. I keep thinking Devonta Smith. I want to see more of Devonta Smith, and I don't think that we really have seen the best of him through really no fault of his own. I think the Eagles basically have this Maserati, and the Eagles offense is basically a dumpster fire, and he's kind of parked next to it. I want to see him be unleashed. I want to see really him be showcased. I think the Eagles are going to lose. I just do. I think the Raiders are a better team, but the offense, like Bill was talking about post-game live after the Buccaneers game, Seth Joyner was basically like, they're setting Jalen Hurts up for failure by making him take every snap out of the shotgun. You can't ask any quarterback to do that. Maybe have him get under center. The Eagles were at the 1 yard line and made him take a snap out of the shotgun. Why? Why are you making this guy who can easily plow ahead for 1 yard get in the shotgun, let alone take every snap that way? You're really hurting a young quarterback like that. So I don't have a lot of confidence in the Eagles, but I hope that they are going to do a better job with their young quarterback and receiver.
A Maserati dump next to a park next to a dumpster fire. I think that statement may live on beyond this show. By the way, when you talk about players under center, you look at good teams and they're at the 1 yard line. They always find a way to run that ball in. And how about the fake handoff and toss to the tight end?
I mean,
why Eagles? Why we haven't seen that? We'll hit the overtime straight ahead. Overtime for Why Eagles, why our parting shots. I love watching the Bengals-Ravens game. The Bengals are hot. The Ravens have been playing maybe above their heads, but those 2 late wins, they've been shutting teams down. That's a premier matchup. I don't know which way I'm looking at that yet, but it's just a great game to watch. But Pete is red hot. Pete's picks, no pressure, Pete, but who do you like, Mr. 6-0?
I'm looking at the Jets-Patriots game. The Patriots have looked pretty good the last couple of weeks, and the Jets have looked like the Jets. So the Jets are getting 6.5 points. The Patriots are giving 6.5 points at DraftKings. I'm going to take the Patriots and give the 6.5 points here.
All right, good to do that line shopping. Hey, Bill, Halloween treats, what's up?
Well, I've been trying to find positives this whole season. I'm hoping my Katie and Pete have a great time in Vegas. Hopefully the Eagles show up, keep them entertained. But like I said earlier, I don't think they're going to win. So I'm looking ahead to next week. You know who they have next week? They're going to Detroit against a team that's likely going to still be winless. The Lions play the Rams this week. And Lions are a team that is in worse shape than the Eagles. So it'll be a little treat for Eagles fans, because I think maybe the Eagles offense and defense, the whole team will show up there and they'll win again. It might be one of the few wins we see again this season, but I'm looking ahead to a positive before the end of the month.
You might see something unusual, minus numbers for an Eagles team. How crazy is that thought this year? How about you, Katie? What are your parting shots at the top?
I know a lot of Eagles fans, obviously when the team's doing bad, like to look ahead. There's a chance the Eagles might have 3 first-round draft picks. I get it. I'm a draft nerd. I'm already looking at mock drafts for 2022. Don't forget who makes those picks. It's Howie Roseman.
So basically, you have to go over the past track records, and you'd have a point there on Howie Roseman.
If we're going to get in a Halloween theme, that to me is frightening. More frightening.
How we take off the mask, Katie says. Well, that's our edition of Why Eagles Why. Very enjoyable for Bill Gelman, Pete Amato, and Katie Kohler. This is Dave Bontempo saying thanks for joining us, and we will catch you next time.